You have the eye for human weakness, but not the stomach.
What's this about?
Oh, just a feeling I have.
Ouch. When you get those feelings, insurance companies start to go bankrupt.
What kind of music do you usually have here?
Oh, we got both kinds. We got country and western.
Are you the police?
No, ma'am. We're musicians.
Top news stories of the week. Time to find out once again with Megan Olson and News of the Week on the Al Travis Show.
Love having her on the program. Megan, how are you today?
Good. Happy to be back.
Yeah, I always love having you on the show. Lots going on in the state, and I don't want to put you in a box either. This Zach, Stephenson, who's now going to be the new leader for the Dems in the House. Do you know much about the cat? I've been doing some reading. I don't know that I've ever met him. I don't have a good feel for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an interesting background, but yeah, the DFL obviously had to elect new leadership. They did that late last night. It was between Zach Stephenson and Jamie Long. So they had, their caucus meeting, voted on it. Zach Stephenson ended up prevailing. What's interesting about his background is he actually got his start in politics by working on Melissa Hortman's campaigns back in the day. So kind of a full circle moment for him to be, stepping up to the plate, taking on this leadership role after her assassination earlier this summer. But I don't know much about him either.
See, that what I had read about him is that he was like the guy behind the scenes. Gets Hortman elected. He's a campaign guy, and I put those quotes up, a campaign guy, but then he got the itch, which, you're out there getting everybody else elected, so he went out and got elected in. So he understands campaigns. He understands how the whole process works now. He could be formidable. I just don't know him personally. Like Hortman she was a stalwart Dem. I mean, good for her, but people liked her, right? She had a personality that others could deal with. I think Damas said, hey, we worked a lot together. We knew we could talk about our kids or whatever. I don't know anything about Zach. So it'll be interesting to see how his personality works with Damath and then the rest of the group.
Mm-hmm. And if he kind of has the ability to really negotiate with the Republicans too. I mean, we know that Demuth and Hortman really cultivated a friendship, some would even say. Over the last several years, they had a really great working relationship. Both made compromises. We don't know enough about this guy to know, if he'll do the same, if he'll, maybe be a little bit more forthcoming in what the DFL wants, especially because, I mean, top story, special session is looming. It is not something, it was something I thought was going to quietly go away. We weren't going to proceed with it. But Walz is pretty committed to getting this done. The timing is really the big question mark because we still have an open seat. Melissa Hortman's seat is still open and won't be filled till next Tuesday. And my question is if he calls this special session this week, we have the election next week. Does that person just get sworn in and then join the special session late, or how does that work?
See, this is all, and the numbers are even crazier. So right now, the Republicans lead. So if you wait a week to find out, because it's probably a Democratic seat, and now it's all tied up. Let's go to special session. Wait a minute. The Senate is still 2 members shy. So they can't get, neither team can get the 34 votes to pass anything. So what are you doing? Well, we got the special election for the Mitchell seat. We think that'll go our way. Well, wonderful for you, but guess what? Then one of them will be a House member, right? Because those 2 House members that are running for the Mitchell seat. Well, once one of them wins, you're back to not having enough people in the House anymore. This is crazy, but it is what they're doing. According to the take this morning, Walz is getting together now that Zach's in charge. Zach and their team are getting together to make a master plan on how to get gun law, a special session done and what to get done. I'm not hearing he's asking Hortman or Johnson, the Republican side of things, to go to this little friendship meeting. They're coming up with what they want.
Demuth and Johnson have both kind of, the Republicans have their own strategy and things that they're looking for. They're talking about having more authority for doctors to deny gender-affirming care, taxpayer money for private security for private schools, more school resource officers, and then tougher penalties, as well as more money for mental health beds. That's kind of the angle they're going.
But that's not an angle.
All out ban the guns.
See, that is the difference. Oh my gosh, you hit it for me. So you list off the things the Republicans think we should discuss. All of them make sense to discuss in what we have seen in the last summer in Minnesota. The Democrats only think pull guns, all guns banned. I even had one on this show. Well, if anything, we can get that binary trigger thing that the judge said couldn't be in an omnibus. We could get that
passed, and it didn't prevent anything that happened this summer.
Thank you, Megan. That's exactly my point. By doing this, and I don't know if enough people pay attention, I don't know if enough people read this stuff up, but you literally have one side that says, okay, let's look back, let's have a conversation about all the things that this has, and we're willing to play the game. And the other side, who's actually in charge, is saying, nope, we're going to get this. We're getting rid of the gun thing, and that's it.
Well, and
they don't look smart.
When they did that binary trigger ban back in 2023, I think they also passed red flag laws. There were a number of things. They did consider putting it to a vote for an all-out ban on assault weapons, but they didn't feel like they had the votes, so they pulled it. I don't know how now they feel like they had the votes. Not much has changed.
The math.
Obviously, Republicans seem very united in doing the mental health support angle, all of that. To complicate the issue even further, you have cities that have been lobbying and trying to work the state government elected officials to pass legislation to allow cities to have their own jurisdiction over banning guns. I think it's Stillwater, Bloomington, Minnetonka are a couple of the cities, but 9 big city mayors have come out and said, okay, we're renewing this conversation now. We want our own, local control over being able to ban assault weapons.
See, and back to opening up this can of worms. Get them in there. Get them in there all talking, because you're right. They put red flag laws in 2023. They did nothing for this. This was everything that the left wanted when it came to mental health issues. You shouldn't get a gun. You can't get a gun. Well, guess what we found out? Your red flag laws did nothing. No one turned them in. Mom and dad didn't turn them in.
He didn't have a
His
criminal
friends
record.
Nope.
Yeah.
So the red flag laws, which you try to put on, again, regular folks, didn't do anything. So let's crack that egg open. You want to get together and talk. Maybe we get rid of the binary trigger thing, because I'm a gun guy, never had one. Okay, let's get rid of that, but then I want to get rid of red flag laws. Their heads would explode. Literally.
Yeah, and I think I think Walz is really under pressure because obviously, this summer, and it's delayed his plans, and he's still hemming and hawing about not running. He's under a lot of pressure. He's hearing from Moms Demand Action, which is the, anti-assault weapon, anti-gun group here in Minnesota. They have 5,000 new members here in Minnesota, but he's hearing from them quite a bit. But he's in a tricky spot where he politically is hemming and hawing on running himself. But then he's got all of this other kind of mess, if you will, and pressure to call a special session, to do this, to do that. I feel like he's pulled in a million different directions, and I don't think it benefits him at all.
No, and again, he is getting pressure, but that's especially with this issue, the gun issue, you see the momentum when something tragic happens, right? That side, it's the gun's gun, so let's get something done with the guns. We feel better. Even getting the binary trigger thing back in. Well, thank God we did something. Even if it had nothing to do with what we're talking about, they get it passed. So I get the pressure he's under, because you struck where the iron is hot. The problem is, I think folks are coming around to saying, wait a minute. As much as we hate guns, you got to look at this situation in its entirety. This kid had other issues.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that. Well,
how do we get ahead of those? I mean, I think I mentioned last week a high school classmate of hers, I don't know.
Yeah,
What high school classmate of his had said, looking back on it now, I see, he was kind of reserved and kind of, standoffish, whatever. I see it now, but I didn't see it then. And I don't think anyone can really, make that call in a case like this. It seemed like very out of the blue for this particular person, but yeah, what are those concrete steps that we can take when it comes to more mental health funds, when it comes to funding for mental health resources in the schools? I think there's a lot more to this conversation than just ban the guns.
And I think the Republicans go to break on this. I think the Republicans are looking good at it, as they have a list of 5 to 10 things we should discuss, and not just ban all guns. Let's get together and get out, because I don't think that's going to fly. We'll be back after this with more with Megan's News in Review.
Tired of one-sided media and divisive noise drowning out your conservative values? Take back the conversation with Braver Angels. Join a grassroots movement to restore civility and find common ground without compromising your principles. As a conservative, your voice matters. Share your perspective on issues like immigration and public health in Red Blue workshops and help rebuild trust in our great nation. Be a leader in depolarizing America. Sign up for free at mn.braverangels.org. Braver Angels, where conservatives, liberals, and independents unite for a stronger republic.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
Easily offended? The Al Travis Show is not for you. The Al Travis Show. All sides are welcome.
I am so glad to have you here to discuss this with Megan. The gubernatorial race. No one knows who the actors are yet because the governor doesn't want to get in. But it's a timing thing. So he wants to wait till session is over. Okay. Special session. Oh, I got to wait till that's over. Hortmans and Hoffmans get shot too soon. Naked guy in the Capitol. Better wait another week. Don't want to take that off the page. Then the Annunciation Church shooting. I get it, and I don't know what the time is for the last major thing to happen before you get in a race, but state fair's come and gone, going to do it after the fair, didn't do it after the fair, now we're a week after that.
Yeah.
Who's he hurting as far as his own candidacy?
Yeah, I think it's not really about him and his timing and what he wants to do. I think it's about his party. I think the party is in a really tough spot right now where, I mean, you have the state auditor who said she's not running. You have the attorney general who probably would run for governor if Walz decides not to. You have the U.S. Senate seat that's open, which leaves CD2 open. You have his lieutenant governor who's running for that U.S. Senate seat. I think there's a lot going on in the DFL party here in Minnesota that is complicating the decision, and I say that in air quotes for Walz, because I don't think it's really about him and what he wants to do or the decision he wants to make. I think it's a larger reflection of the party dynamics happening in the DFL right now.
Seeing the report yesterday was that his people, those on the campaign and around him, want him to go for governor again. Why would they not? If you're making money, you make it on the campaign, right? I mean, so they get back in it, boss.
Yeah.
But the interesting part about that was their play with him, because evidently he's really doesn't seem committed to this at all, is that if you win a third term, you now have the platform to go for the presidency, because
he said he won't. That's the one caveat here too. He said, Walz himself said that if I run for a third term, I will, forego the 2028 presidential election. I mean, maybe he could hop back in later, but I also think, I know I said, DFL dynamics. I think it's big D Democrats, national Democrats dynamics as well. I mean, you have Ken Martin from Minnesota who, took over the party essentially, and they can't even fundraise themselves. The Harris dynamic there is making it a little bit tricky for them. I think it's bleeding into Minnesota. I think last week on the show, I said, I really hope I'm, back next week and we have, a confirmed Democrat nominee for governor. Here we are. We're still going back and forth. I mean, you and I have been chatting about this for months and months and months every weekend.
There's something to that. He says, I'll just bring all the money with me. He thinks he has all those ties, but the Democratic Party nationally is not raising any money. Kamala's not. He's kind of on the tails of that. Are people really looking across the nation to throw money at him to give him this governorship? I don't know. But that other gal, Kristen Robbins.
Kristen Robbins, she is a complete powerhouse.
$500K in 2 weeks. That's big money, people. I mean, that's good money, and that's got to show something. He can't afford to lose the governorship. That's what I'm saying. The Walz can't afford to lose it, because then there's no platform. You go away for 2 years. What do you got?
And I think, him not running, obviously, like I said, puts the Democrats in a tough spot. So I'm sure part of me thinks that maybe my honest prediction, he doesn't want to, but the party is telling him you kind of need to. So figuring out the timing of how do we move forward with that.
But it's stories like that came out yesterday. He doesn't seem really thrilled about it. Do you want a governor who's not really thrilled about it? I mean, I'm sorry. I guess
governor who's eager to get to work, is there to do their job, excited about it, not pushing past self-imposed deadlines. I mean, even that's on the campaign side, but I still think it's a red flag for the job itself. So,
and you got to look, because his lieutenant governor has moved on to the Senate seat, he's going to have to pluck somebody out to be his lieutenant governor. Does he take it from the Senate? Oh, wait a minute. The Senate's tied. We don't want to really upset that. You know what? How red a district could he grab, or blue a district?
I think he's going to have to grab someone from the state ticket, like Secretary of State Steve Simon, because he's been hemming and hawing about it. I don't know if he goes with Ellison, but someone from, higher state office, so he doesn't upset the apple cart in the legislature, because right now it's a very delicate balance.
Well, this time is short. I know this doesn't seem like 18 months now? No, it would be only 13 months till the election. Yeah, 1 year. Generally, no one waits this long, and all those other people that have to have discussions with their spouses and whatever, if they're going to get in and fundraise, are really being put behind an 8-ball here because of this lack. Now, on the other side, are we full up of Republicans that want to be the governor's job? I don't know. We have three pretty prominent ones. I think there are 5 or 6, but three pretty prominent ones.
We've got 3 good candidates, I think. Well, 3 candidates, 1 clear front runner. I wouldn't say they're all good, but I mean, props to anyone who puts their hat in the ring. But yeah, some familiar faces that folks haven't been super excited about over the years. But yeah, Kristen Robbins, I have a feeling she'll get that endorsement. She'll be the Republican on the gubernatorial ticket next year. As
long as no one else gets in. But even the case of governor gets in or doesn't, that fills that hole. It will also tell us where other people want to go. Do you think we've heard of all the Republicans? We haven't talked about attorney general. We haven't talked about state auditor as far as the Republican side, because we're just hearing this stuff now. Are we all in on CD2? Do we know who's in and that's out, or is there anybody latecomers to the mix?
CD2, we've got Tyler Kistner coming back, and then we've got Senator Eric Pratt, who's thrown his hat in the ring as well. He's a senator from Prior Lake, real bipartisan resume, shown that he can work with both sides. I think he's the front runner there too. But yeah, I think, maybe some faces that have left politics and want to come back into it for those higher up positions like Attorney General, Secretary of State, we might see them coming forward, but always more to talk about on this show. I hope maybe if I say it again next week, maybe we'll have a decision from Walz and we can talk about it on the show.
And we'll figure that out. I'm going to have to put a line. I have my list of frauds that have gone on. It's like 10 or 12 long. I don't know how many more Minnesotans will take, so let's keep a mark. I'll put it on my paper. On this date today, Al said, how many more of these things are going to come out between now and the election? Because I honestly believe people are getting to the point where we just can't take it anymore. We can't do this. And I think that's going to be one of the big things. It all comes down to the economy, stupid, right? Well, my economy is you just can't give my money to somebody else because you just won't protect it. I don't like that. So I think that's going to be a huge part of this election.
Absolutely.
Megan, appreciate you being here. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. We'll be back next week talking about all the top Minnesota news stories of the week on the Al Travis Show with Megan's News and Review.